That's Dee Dee Bridgewater and Bill Charlap carrying on a musical conversation on stage. The duo has just released a new album called Elemental and has just performed at the Hollywood Bowl. We caught up with Bill to talk to him about how the two of them make this musical magic both on stage and in the studio.
The whole thing about what we've been doing is it's very extemporaneous and very spontaneous. So although we have a repertoire and an understanding of what key centers we might be around, the truth of the matter is we really do fly in an extemporaneous way.
Right.
We play together. And that means that it could be in tempo, out of tempo, depending on the tempo. It could change. It's very expansive.
All right. Well, that's interesting because I wrote in big letters here in my notes, spontaneous versus rehearsed when talking about the album. So does that go for the way you made the record as well?
I think so, yes. I think it's very much that way. These pieces did get, they developed over a little bit of time in the sense that as we performed them, they would take on some shape. So we had some idea. But even if one was to listen to the takes in the studio, they all start differently. They end differently. They're not the same. And even if we get into something on one take that's very good, we kind of purposefully don't do that when we do another one.
Gotcha.
We want to keep it fresh, you know?
Yeah. But that involves a certain amount of trust between the two of you as well, doesn't it?
Well, that's very true, for sure.
How does that how do you guys get to that point?
I think that trust is developed, but chemistry is instant. So we had the chemistry instantly, and over a short amount of time, we realized, along with this, we really can trust each other, because if one goes one way that is unexpected to the other is very pliable and supportive and willing and generous enough to follow through in a different direction. Nobody's bossy.
Oh, that's good. So my understanding is that it was Dee Dee's idea for the two of you to do this project together. When she contacted you, what was the first thing that kind of went into your brain? What did you think of?
Well, I thought probably she wanted to sing with my trio, because my trio sort of had an imprint as a jazz group.
Right.
But when I heard from her, she said, well, no, I want to do this just as a duo. That's when, tell you the truth, I said, oh, well, that really is interesting. Now that's something different.
Uh-huh.
And I loved the idea of it. And it made me even as excited as I was at the idea for guesting with my trio. I liked this even more.
Okay. So what is different from your perspective about that?
It's completely different. We don't have to have any set way of going about things. I can change the harmony at any point. I could change the tempo. I could change the key. All of these things are open all of the time.
Right.
And also, it makes me a complete, it's 50-50. So it's not 25, 25, 25, and 25.
Gotcha. All righty.
That's really different.
And of course the set list or the track listing, such as it is kind of American jazz classic standards, if you will. Was that always the case?
What we did is that we just picked things that we like.
Okay.
And that we both knew very well. And of course, Dee Dee is also telling the story and the lyrics, and that's the part that I don't have. Of course, that informs everything I play anyway.
Right.
And always has. That's just me. But we found things that we both cared about and that could speak to us, and we're really scratching the surface with repertoire, because we both know 1,000 songs.
Right. It's got to be hard and out of those thousands of songs, 3 of them were written by Duke Ellington. So
Duke Ellington really spoke to us. There's some Duke's music is to me, it's a rainbow of humanity over the entire oeuvre of whatever we call popular song, jazz, and the blues. You could almost boil everything down to Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong.
There you
and,
go.
and leave it there. Uh, Everything comes somewhere out of one of those places.
Right. So the album begins with Beginning to See the Light, which I think
Yeah.
you were performing with your trio as well. Is that right?
Well, the truth is, I started playing with my trio after I was playing it with Dee Dee.
I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. Now that the stars are in your eyes, honey, I see the light. I never went in for afterglow, candlelight on the mistletoe. But now, when you turn the lamp down low, honey, I see the light.
Tell me a little bit about how that particular track came together. Do you remember anything specific about it?
What I remember is the very first gig that we did together. We simply showed up there, and I think we got together one afternoon just to go over some keys and some repertoire and some ideas and see. The simpatico was instant, I guess I say the chemistry was instant.
Yeah.
And right before we went on stage, I think Dee Dee looked at me and said, "How about I'm beginning to see the light?" I said, "Okay." And that's how it started. So it makes sense that the record should start that way.
Right. And overall, there's a sense of playfulness and joy about the whole. You can feel that the two of you are having a good time, especially Honeysuckle Rose.
Every honeybee fills with jealousy when you're out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows. You're my honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop inside, and I know the reason why you're much sweeter. Goodness knows, honey, you are my little rose. I don't buy sugar. You just have to touch my cup. You are my sugar, sweet when you stir it up.
It's a Harlem rent party, We're not trying to do anything but have a good time.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that we can't express myriad emotion within all of that. It's not clowning around. It's actually having a serious good time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think that that's important too.
Well, it is kind of, I mean, with everything that's going on, especially in the States, I mean, here in New Zealand, we're reading the papers every day. What's what's going on over there? Does that stuff kind of seep into what you play just naturally?
Well, music and the arts and the togetherness that we feel on stage, and the the human bridges that jazz is all about. We would like to be a place where people can see the best of what people can be. That's all. Mm-hmm. So, in that way, we're always affected by struggles that may be happening.
Gotcha.
Whether they're personal or, collective.
Right. And I think both you and Dee Dee individually and sometimes collectively are going overseas and touring Europe and wherever. Has that experience, or do you think of that differently now with the way things are going on in the world?
I have felt nothing but positivity from the audiences, and I'm an artist, so I'm here to try to make something with truth and beauty.
All right, that sounds very positive. And for your own, what are you doing next, recording wise? Have you got plans?
I don't at the moment, though there are some various different things that are percolating with me, and at the moment I'll keep them to myself so they retain the creative energy.
All right, and do you kind of keep an eye on the broader jazz scene, such as it is these days? Is there anything that strikes you?
Well, in as much as there's incredible, brilliant talent, I've heard so many great young piano players like Isaiah Thompson and a fellow called Paul Cornish, okay. Another young man by the name of Brandon Goldberg, another young man by the name of Kalen Cardello. These guys are all fantastic. And there's all kinds of brilliant talent that's emerging all the time,
Right. All righty. Well, hopefully one day you'll make it down to actually get to New Zealand and play for us, because we'd love to hear from you.
I would love that. I'm crazy about the Flight of the Conchords.
I think they have a new record coming out, or Brett
Oh,
McKenzie
right.
or somebody does. So there's all that happening. Yeah.
No, that's
always good.
my commercial involvement with New Zealand as of the last 15 years.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.